Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Tahir from Family Pediatrics in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'll be doing a video sitting inside my car. I'm at the beautiful Kenosha Harbor. You can see the lighthouse in the background. However, it is just a little bit too windy outside and my microphone was picking up a lot of wind noise, and therefore I'm sitting in the car. Today I'll be talking to you guys about depression in terms of my views on mind, body, and spirit treatment. Okay, so when I think about mind, body, and spirit, I think of those three components as interconnected. The mind affects the spirit, vice versa. The body affects the mind, and they all three relate to each other, and they all affect each other. I believe those are the essence of our being, and it's important to think about that in terms of depression and really any other aspects of our lives. So in terms of depression, kids do get depressed, and we're not talking just a little bit of sadness, okay? So kids can obviously be sad for all sorts of reasons. However, depression is a little different. That is a persistent feeling of sadness for some amount of time, weeks or months or longer. And kids can sometimes feel very hopeless, and they can have low energy, may not sleep well, may have problems with their attitude, and may have a lot of difficulty in life, at home and at school, and in their social lives. So depression is a very serious condition, and it's very important that if you think your child is having problems, please make sure that you talk to your child's doctor and bring that up, okay? Now, I do want to let you know that regardless of what's going on, there is a lot of hope. Depression can be treated, and kids who are getting appropriate treatment thankfully do very, very well. So make sure that you address it sooner rather than later. All right. So when I do see a child in my office who is depressed, and I won't go into how that diagnosis happens, but let's say they are depressed, there are a few different things I look at, and I'll be talking to you guys about those. First thing is, treatment-wise, I look to see what could we be doing, or what could the family be doing in terms of spiritual care for the child. Now this topic, of course, will bring up lots of questions as far as what exactly is spirituality, but what I think of as in terms of spirituality is learning how to have inner peace, having a quiet mind, learning how to quiet the mind. That is a key. I wish kids were taught this from the very beginning across the world. And also having hope for the future. That's very important. Those things don't come from medications, and they may not be coming from therapies. Those are a little different type of things we have to think about. It's we also want to help the kids recognize their conscious being, their sense of self, or the I, as far as who they are, who owns their mind and who owns their body. They need to learn that they are not their thinking mind, and that they can learn how to control their mind in terms of their thought process, listen to their mind, and also calm down their mind. They can learn how to use their mind as a tool so that it is not constantly playing images and memories and thoughts inside them. There are different ways of coming to that point. It's not very easy for sure, but that happens through meditation. There's a meditation type called mindful meditation, which is easier to learn for some people and adolescents. So please look into that, into meditation, and look into information about quieting the mind. There's also, of course, religious spirituality in terms of having a religion. And if you have a religion that you are comfortable with and you feel peaceful with, it is important to pray and also be hopeful of improvement in life, and also good things coming up in life. So if you are religious in that way, talk to your children about that too, and help them get involved, and help them get involved with things that you do that would bring them hope and a sense of peace in their mind. So addressing spirituality, I believe, is an important part of depression, and one aspect of helping to optimize the treatment plan, okay? All right, it has to be age appropriate. Kids who are 4 years old are not going to be able to learn mindful meditation, for example. So for that, you have to do some different things, age-appropriate things, and I guess I'll have to make a different video about that. All right, so that's spiritual aspects that are important to think about. Next is the mind part. The mind is the thinking part, and that's really important, of course, to treat as far as depression goes. Psychotherapy or therapy through a trained professional, mental health professional, is extremely important, you guys. So it's important that your doctor talks to you about that and gets you hooked up with somebody or gives you references for somebody. Pediatricians and family doctors may not be able to do that, and they really are not trained for that, but they should be able to refer you to appropriate places. Okay, so it's important that your child learns self-confidence. They learn coping mechanisms on how to deal with difficulties that are happening in their lives, and also relaxation techniques. There are lots of different techniques out there that you can start learning immediately with your child or your child alone. So some examples are breathing techniques. So if you simply look up relaxing breathing techniques, for example, you will come up with lots of different videos on YouTube that will talk to you about breathing techniques. There's also muscle relaxation techniques. One of them is called progressive muscular relaxation. So if you look that up, you can find information on that. Those are some relaxation techniques, and there are and many others, of course, that are available. So getting therapy is extremely important. Building self-confidence is important. Relaxation techniques. Addressing social situations in your child's life is also should be one of your primary concerns. Instabilities in life affect kids tremendously, just like they do with adults. If you have moved to a different house, for example, or maybe they moved to a different school, or they broke up with their girlfriend or boyfriend, for example, those can also cause a lot of difficulties in life. Dealing with major life events, such as a death in the family or divorce in the family, is very important. So those you can do as a family together, but also mental health professionals are also trained to address those things. So make sure you talk to your doctor or your counselor about that, and also talk to your kids about difficult life situations, and try your best to stabilize your household. Maybe you'll need a routine for the evening time when the kids come home from school, for example. Maybe there should be a set dinner time, and then relaxation time, time to sit together and talk, and then turn off all the screens and have some kind of a night routine. So some kind of a predictable, stable routine is very helpful with kids in terms of feeling more settled in their minds. Okay? So that's addressing the mind part. The physical body part is very important also as far as depression goes. So some of the main things I concentrate on is nutrition. It's very important your kids are eating healthy. The more junk food and fast food and soda pop they have in their diet, the worse things are. So it's very important to try to adjust your diets so that the kids are eating fruits and vegetables, meats, etc., and minimize fast foods, junk foods. There are some kids who react really horribly to sugars in their diet and milk in their diet. Also sometimes to different food colors like red and yellow. So you may notice that with certain foods they are feeling much worse, and so you have to also try to monitor that. If your kids are eating too much carbohydrates, carbohydrates are things like bread and pasta and rice, for example, potatoes. So those are carbohydrates. They also make us feel tired. And if your child is already feeling tired and low energy, sometimes some of those foods may make things worse. Okay? Sleep is extremely important. Your child must be sleeping well. Not sleeping well can be a symptom of depression, and also not sleeping well can lead to worse depression problems. So if your child is not sleeping well, either having a hard time falling asleep or falling asleep and getting up, etc., make sure you talk to your doctor about that, because that is a primary thing to address right away with all sorts of behavior conditions with kids, especially with depression. we have to have adequate sleep so our brains can regenerate, and our cells can grow and we can heal. So that's important. Exercising is important. If your child is just laying there all the time, make them get up and do something every day. That could be as simple as walking around the block, or playing at a park, or riding a bike, or playing a sport at school, for example. Being physically active is very important. The next thing I look at often is stomach issues. If your child has stomach problems, especially constipation, that can cause a lot of problems. Our stomachs are related very closely to our thought process, and if we have stomach problems, we often have thought problems, okay? So make sure your child is not constipated. If they are having hard stool, make sure you talk to your doctor about that. There are some studies that show that simply taking probiotics and balancing out our gut flora is helpful with depression. So stomach health is very important as far as depression goes. There are different kinds of treatments available, medication-wise, that help. So I had mentioned probiotics. So probiotics are shown to help with depression. I often recommend using probiotics when kids have some depression. And there are also other natural supplements which I have which help. So those supplements contain a lot of B vitamins, which help our brain, and also different amino acids, which help us relax, concentrate, feel better about ourselves. Of course, the dietary supplements are not FDA approved for these sorts of things, but they help significantly. So I've seen a lot of results from using natural or vitamin and herbal treatments for kids with depression, especially if it's mild. If it's more than mild, probably will need some medication. There are different medications that I use for kids with depression. So the common medications are called serotonin reuptake inhibitors. One of the common names that most people are familiar with is something called Prozac. Those types of medications do wonders for kids. It changes their lives. A lot of parents are very hesitant to use medications for their children, setting them up for months and years of problems in life. However, when medications are used as part of a comprehensive plan, they change lives for the better, and I can't even count how many times I've seen that. So please consider that. Don't be very hesitant with using medications if your child needs medications. Of course, medications have side effects along with potential benefits. So talk to your doctor about the potential side effects of medications that are used for depression. They're thankfully very rare, especially the more serious ones. And most kids that I treat, I'm thinking 99%, don't have any side effects at all, and they do very well. So medications are also an important part of treatment when they're needed. Altogether, I believe it's very important that you support your children in all three aspects of their lives, which is the mind, body, and spiritual aspects of their lives, to help them through with depression. Not only that, all the other aspects of their lives. So I hope you guys found this useful. I would love comments and suggestions from you in the comments. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.